Welcome to the Big Bag. My name's Mark Machado. I'm joined live from Dubai by Azeem, Rafiq, and live from another part of London. He's not in the same room as me. Is Tawhid Quershi. Pakistan have booked their place in the final. It's actually turned out to be quite what I think was quite a phenomenal performance against a reasonably kind of strong Bangladesh team to get into the game by just the smallest margin of 11 runs. Azeem, you were in there. If you've got comments, if you want anything to say, leave them in the comment section. But we'll get to that. There's a lot to discuss from this game. Azeem, I'll come to you first though. You were there just minutes ago. You've hot-footed it to your house. What's your feeling about that whole performance?
Look, it was a good night. I mean, one thing that was very clear, and credit to the Bangladeshi fans, the stadium was probably about just over, I'd say about 60% full. It was full of Bangladeshi fans, and God, they made some noise. It was probably one of the best atmospheres I've experienced. It was really, really great, and it was a good, friendly atmosphere in the ground. Listen, I think the cricket Pakistan with the bat, I thought were pretty average. And then there's Bangladesh's drop catches, I think, in the end are the difference between the two teams. And, they just got up to a score that they could defend. And then they did what they can do when they get the tails up in the field and with the ball, set the tone by Shaheen and followed by everyone else. So in the end, a decent, convincing win. But I think there's a lot of Bangladesh have been very impressive throughout the tournament. And I think they can really hold their heads very high.
Tawhid, you're kind of Bangladesh man in residence. What's your feelings after that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Azeem summed it up pretty well. I think, winning the toss, bowling first, and then sort of restricting Pakistan to that total, they would have been very pleased. I mean, at one stage, it almost looked like it might have even been in the 100s or, just below 100 at one stage. They were bowling that well. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think there was some a couple of drop catches towards the end. So Shaheen Shah Afridi, I think, was dropped twice, and there was a DRS that went narrowly in his favour. So, yeah, he got 19 runs in the end. Mohammad Nawaz was dropped on 0. He ended up with 25. So those kinds of margins certainly made a difference in the end. But, yeah, good. Certainly a very good bowling performance. But, yeah, batting-wise, they just seemed all over the place. And we were sort of saying off air, Mark, I look at that Bangladesh batting lineup, it just looks like a total muddle. I can't really see kind of the strategy behind it. Players playing out of place. You're not sure who's the finisher, who's supposed to be, batting for 10 or 15 overs. Yeah, it just looks quite wrong.
We'll get to that. We just had a comment come in that I think is worth having a chat about. Shabneh said, "What were those shots Bangladesh played today? Looked like they were playing street cricket." I mean, any thoughts on that, Tawhid? And
yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because again, you look at that sort of, like I say, the top 4 or 5 Bangladesh today, and they were all kind of finishers in my mind, whereas you rewind about a year or so ago, and they were all playing like number 4s, players that would kind of bat at, strike rates of around 100, maybe 110, and they would bat for 10 or 15 overs, not really make a huge impact in the game. So it's kind of like, you want something in between, ideally, I'd say. And today they seem to go too much the other way. Yes, there were a couple of shots that didn't come off. I mean, Tawhid Ridoi against Shaheen Shah Afridi in particular, I thought that was a bit of a weak, or certainly, the wrong shot to play, trying to sort of play across the line a little bit, big leading edge, being caught. So, yeah, there were a couple of shots that didn't look great, but I don't know. I'm always a bit reluctant to criticise attacking intent, certainly in T20 cricket, because, like I say, if they don't do that, then they kind of get pilloried for being too, conservative and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I wonder if, Azeem, actually, there is a kind of, when you've got a low score to chase, that can really get into the players' heads, especially now when actually all the conversation almost coming into this tournament was about big scores and about, first 300 score, which we saw during this tournament, but not in the tournament. And actually, when you get these low scores, it just messes with the psychology of how teams approach them.
Yeah, to be honest, it was a decent pitch. I think Bangladesh just put too much emphasis, like got a bit worried about the chase. Really, it was a low total that didn't need, it felt like it just needed a couple of decent partnerships. And you see this in modern cricket throughout. Actually, is that this thing that coaches are pushing players out to go out there, be attacking, be attacking, be attacking. And it's as if the players can't think for themselves on the feet. What does attacking even mean or look like? That doesn't have to be. So, I mean, Pakistan's last game against Sri Lanka, Hossein Talat spoke in the after-match conference that his captain and coach told him to go out there and attack, but he went out and thought, no, I need to give myself a chance, and then I can attack. And it felt like, that was the way to do it. 136 is not a big target, right? But it's as if they got stuck in no man's land. They neither did here nor there. Because if you look at the sixes, both teams have hit 5 sixes. And actually, you talk about that comment about, you could say the same comment about the Pakistani batting, really, that what are they doing? What were they playing at? But it was, later down, sort of, Harris got 31 off 23, which is quite conservative for him, and he was looking to knock the singles. So yeah, I don't know. I think the players sometimes and the environment around them, if there's too much of this, right, go out there and be attacking. Actually hitting the sweepers hard is attacking, and chasing a score of 136 with one small boundary. There was a small boundary on one side. It needed some smart cricket. I mean, a couple of things. A couple of the batters. Like, I've not watched a lot of this Bangladeshi group of players. Saif Hassan looked a proper player, and he has in this tournament already. And the way the Shamim batted as well was very impressive. So they've clearly got it in them. It's just, I think they're a young side that, with a bit of sort of confidence and a few of these sort of matches getting in, I think it would have been brilliant for them to get in the final, to be honest. I think I would say in the tournament, Pakistan have played patchy cricket, but Bangladesh have played some really nice cricket throughout. Even yesterday at different stages, they played some really, really good cricket. So I think they can take a lot of positives from this tournament.
Yeah. What's your takeaways from this tournament, Tawhid?
Yeah, I mean, as he mentioned it there, Saif Hassan for me has been an absolute revelation as someone who does kind of follow Bangladesh cricket pretty closely. He's kind of been, he's never been able to nail down a spot. I think I was saying to you, Mark, the other day, he kind of almost looked like the weak link in the top 4, the top 5 when you just look at it on paper. But been an absolute revelation, 2 half centuries, one against Sri Lanka in that vital successful run chase, and then one again last night against India. So yeah, he's been an absolute revelation. And yeah, the bowling in general's held up. I think it held up last night really well. The last 10 overs against India, I think they conceded something like about 60 or took a load of wickets to restrict India to 168. Is pretty good going, right? And again today, bowled well. Tuskin Ahmed, what a warrior he is. He's kind of stuck together with kind of sellotape and bandages. He's kind of had every injury you can think of. So yeah, I think he was rested last night with a view to playing him tonight. So yeah, leading from the front, and all the bowlers bowled pretty well. But for me, yeah, the batting, I just feel that there's no real sort of role definition, or there's not enough role definition for the top 4, the top 5. So I was looking this up earlier. So Mehdi Hassan, for example, he's not a number 4 batter, came in at number 4 today. I was looking this up because I couldn't remember him batting that high. And lo and behold, in about 60 odd T20 internationals, he's only batted once before at number 4. So, and similarly, Nur Hassan Chauhan, again, he came in at number 5, I think, predominantly comes in at number 7 normally. So there were lots of kind of batters out of place. I think the one batter, I think, who should have been promoted, and again, someone who's had a fantastic kind of couple of weeks, is Rishad Hussain, young leg spinner. And we kind of saw glimpses of it just in that last over. He's one of the few Bangladesh batters who can actually muscle the ball over the boundary for six. So why he wasn't, if you were to promote anyone, if you wanted that sort of quick start in the power play, if you were to promote anyone to number 3 and number 4, I think it should have been him.
And he also, just on him, he's played in the PSL, right? So he's actually shared a dressing room with Harris and Shaheen specifically. But I think he's a superstar. I think he's going to be. I mean, with his bowling as well, the angles and everything, he's going to play a lot of franchise cricket around the world. He's very, very impressive. And yeah, I was surprised, how little they used him with the bat. Even it's weird. Even at the end, you felt like with him there, you felt like that they had it in them to potentially get closer.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you thought about Rashad Hussain, because he's kind of, in terms of economy rate, which is massively important at this format, he was the pick of the Bangla bowlers. He's been a nightmare for Sri Lanka. I feel, Tawhid, every time Bangladesh play Sri Lanka, these guys like digivolve, or like they become slightly hit the ball slightly further and bowl slightly further, or spin it slightly a bit more than they used to. Because I look at this side and I'm like, Saif Hassan he's been incredible. He's been a standout performer here. Obviously, everyone knows what Ridoy can do nowadays. Rashad Hussain, Taskin Ahmed, the Fizz. That's a formidable bowling lineup. And then you got Jaka Ali, the captain, who just for me, like, I obviously I don't speak Bengali, so I don't know what he's saying, but he just got such a great look. You're like, he looks like he's a kind of franchise player, doesn't he? Like, he kind of looks a bit like a film star in a way or something. And you're like, you've got the beginnings here of something going on, isn't there? Obviously, I don't know how much longer the Fizz and Taskin have got in them, but if you can kind of keep them together for kind of the next 18 months, 2 years, you never know what might happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying, yeah, I think sort of bowling wise, I was quite happy with the attack, the look of the attack tonight as well. Like you say, Fizz and Taskin, like so much experience between just those two, and then you got the youngster there as well, in Tanzim as well. So, and then the sort of the spin options to supplement that as well. So. Yeah, kind of happy with the bowling options there. I think, yeah, it's just that sort of top 4, top 5 that needs to take real shape.
Should we talk a bit about Pakistan, Azeem? Every time I see Mike Hesson, and I loved it, for me, professional sport is a television show, right? When you see him, the way he sits there, right? Firstly, every time I see him, I think he's looking more and more Pakistani. If you told me actually he's from Lahore and not from New Zealand, I'd totally believe that.
Well, you know what? On that, every decision he seems to make is making me feel like he's more and more Pakistani. Because I cut you off there. Some of the tactics around Pakistan, I cannot understand. Like,
go into it.
Firstly, he called a couple of weeks ago. He called Mohammad Nawaz one of the best spinners in the world. We've not seen him bowl since. Today was the first time. So, I mean, I tweeted earlier. I was like, oh, so we were basically holding our secret weapon for the business end of this tournament. Today, with 10 overs in, and listen, Shaheen came in and hit a couple of sixes. We sent Shaheen in above Nawaz and Fahim Ashraf. And the captain was batting at that point. So it can only have been Hesson. We've got Hassan Nawaz, who's probably one of our most promising, the only sort of middle order hitter batsman we have. And a couple of games in, we've dropped him. We've got Saim, who, is really struggling with the bat. His head's clearly very scrambled. You've got a player there, no doubt. So, you've got all sorts going off, and you're like, this is just so complicated. And it was very frustrating. I'm not going to lie. Like, if Shaheen comes in there and gets caught as he should have been, like that, that is, you can't make any sense of them sort of decisions, and that's the sort of thing you expect from Pakistani players and coaches. So yeah, he's very much molded himself well in the system.
I loved it when he came down, and you saw him up the top in the box, and then you see him come down to the side of the pitch, give some sort of signal. No one knows what it is. I think Shaheen got a wicket like the next ball. Obviously, in the commentary, they're blaming or they're sending Mike Heston the flowers for that wicket. I don't know what he said. He might have just moved the fielder or something.
I think he actually did the slow ball.
Slow ball, right?
Whether he said that type of slow ball, but actually, it didn't take a rocket scientist to work out. There was a massive leg side boundary, small, boundary on the offside. Ball it into the pitch, ball cutters. It's taken Pakistan, the whole tournament to actually work out how to bowl. But it's been very clear from the first game that I've been to watch at the stadium. You bowl it into the pitch, you bowl the cutters, you bowl the cross seamers, and you bowl a hard length. The minute anyone sort of goes to try and pitch it full, it gets whacked, or anyone tries to swing it like Shaheen has done it several times. Yeah, but Mike Heston's interesting. I think the jury's still well and truly out, I would say. Sherbak has made some very, very interesting comments on him as well in the last few days.
What did he say? I haven't seen those.
Yeah, just like he needs his head checking out. He needs to answer some questions because actually Pakistan's not been there tactically. Pakistan's in the final. I don't know how, and there's no logic to what I've been saying in the last day and what I'm about to say. But for some reason, I think they're going to go and win on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I agree.
How has this happened?
I agree because I think firstly, it's difficult in cricket. It's not like football or rugby where you can just go out and constantly put performances in and get wins. Cricket's a weird sport. You can have a bad day. You can be in a situation where someone can have just a magic over and get 3 wickets in an over, and then suddenly that totally changes the game, right? I'm a Sri Lanka fan. I obviously believe that cricket and magic go hand in hand, right? So and now also the thing I am seeing from Pakistan is they are actually kind of improving. You might be frustrated with the team selection. You might be frustrated with some of the tactics that they're deploying on the pitch, but the guys clearly have a skill level that is good enough to play on some level at this point. They've played India. This will be the 3rd time in a week. No, what, 2 weeks?
3 weeks.
Yeah,
3 Sundays
3
in
weeks.
a row.
Yeah, 3 Sundays in a row.
They can't ruin another Sunday for us, surely.
They would have learned what to expect from them, right? They would have I believe
Learn is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Yeah, but you just think that maybe there might be something here.
There's just this tournament. Sadly, a lot of the talking points have been off the field.
Yeah,
and I think India started that. And they're still continuing. We're going to hear tomorrow about Surya Kumar Yadav. If it's not already been announced, he's going to get a level 1, I'm pretty sure. And the Pakistani players are going to get a level 1, I'm pretty sure. I just want the next few days, Pakistani players not to entertain the crap that's been going on off the field. And to be honest, as a spectator of the game, it's made our game look average.
Yeah.
And it's made, it's been frustrating to watch, I think. And, I think India's been allowed to get away with a lot for far too long. So I just feel like, come Sunday, the pressure's on them. They're giving it the big ones. Surya Kumar Yadav and his comments about the rivalry. For what it's worth, I've wrote about, I don't think there is a rivalry. But when you come out and say it in the manner he does, and in the position that he is, bearing in mind overall, Pakistan's men's team has won more games against Indian men's team, right? So you just bringing pressure onto yourself, which is what the Indians have done, I feel. Yeah. And, it happened in the Champions Trophy final. Got hammered in the group stages. Fucker gets out off a no ball, then stays in, has a day out, and Pakistan wins. And Pakistan can do that. If there's any team that can do that, it is Pakistan.
Exactly. I also think that some of the narrative around this tournament isn't quite what it kind of looks. If you look at that Bangladesh's result there's a large narrative, Tawhid, that India are just miles and miles and miles ahead of everyone else in this tournament, right? And I'm not sure they're actually as far ahead as people make you want to think they are. In cricket, their tactics and what the coaches do and all, the kind of setup around it is obviously incredibly useful, and is, you need that to be in the right place. But in my opinion, and I could be totally wrong, 95% of it is what do the players actually do on the day, and what does the scorecard read? I say 95% of it. That's 99% of it, really. Yesterday we saw. Well, I thought Pakistan got kind of much closer to India the second time round. I thought Bangladesh were not too far off India, and India kind of almost slipped up against, was it not
Oman.
slipped up, but Oman, yeah, kind of got into them a little bit. And I know it was a totally different India side, but this idea that they are massively far ahead, I just don't think is right. I think actually, and I'm not saying that if you were to pick an Afghanistan and India 11, it would be 5 Afghan players and 6 India players. I'm not saying none of that, but I'm also saying that these guys are professional sportsmen. They know the game. They're skilled at their game. They're in their teams for a reason, even if their teams aren't in the final or might not be performing to the level you expect them to perform. And actually, almost all of them can go out and have a great day and do something against them. I don't know what you think about that, Tawhid.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Just looking back at that sort of game last night. By the way, not making excuses for Bangladesh today, but I don't think anyone else in the tournament's played 2 games inside 36 hours. So, mitigation there. Plus, Liton Das, the captain, as well, sidelined for injury for the last yesterday and today as well. But yeah, going back to that game yesterday, I think you're right. I mean, India obviously, are a good team. Obvious thing to say, but they're fallible as all teams are, and we saw a bit of it yesterday. Bangladesh bowlers really got into them that last 10 overs of their batting innings, as I say. So to restrict, once Abhishek Sharma got out, it seemed like the wheels kind of came off a little bit of that India innings. So there's definitely an Achilles heel there if you can find it. So yeah, no, I agree, and as we know, a team like India often bring out the best in their opponents, and you've obviously sort of spoken a lot about the India-Pakistan rivalry. There's actually quite a big India-Bangladesh rivalry as well that's kind of developed over probably the last kind of 10 years or so. So teams always up their game, don't they, when they play against India as well, particularly in the final, you would expect.
Mark, I actually disagree with you.
Oh yeah.
On the 99, because it's 100%, right? Ultimately,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
it and the scorecard. But also, I think India are much better than everyone else. The scary thing is, I don't think India have played well this tournament at all, and they've won comfortably. But I agree with you as well. They've shown enough chinks in their armor that at different moments in different games, everyone has put them under pressure. But they, because of their talent and skill level, and the fact that they've got 11 players who are really good, they've just sort of meandered their way out of it. And I think to moments in that last that first 10 overs, 91 for 1, Pakistan, really, that's when they could have really done them over. Again, Bangladesh put them under pressure. Oman has. So I think they've got chinks in their armor. Now you're either going to get on Sunday. I mean, they've got a game tomorrow as well. And also, I don't understand how and why Bangladesh had to play on consecutive days. No one else.
Mate, look. We know that the ACC have totally stacked this game and stacked this whole thing to get this final that they wanted. Bangladesh had to play in 2 successive games. Sri Lanka weren't allowed to have a middle order. Like it's.
I mean, this is the first time in 17 editions, that there's an India-Pakistan final. But yeah, I listen. Ultimately, on the day, you need in a T20 game, you need one batsman to have a day out and a couple of bowlers to just be all right, and you win the game. And actually, even in a T20 game, you don't even have to win all 40 overs. You just if you win the big moments, which is generally back 6 overs of your bowling and back 6 overs of your batting, right? And if you stay in the game and the rest, you win the match. So there's definitely, India can be turned over. They're not this invincible, this invincible team that no one's going to get anywhere near. Far from it, and they've shown enough chinks there at least that. So I think we're set for hopefully a good match, and none of the off-field crap.
Yeah,
Which sadly I think will happen anyway. But I'm just hoping because
yeah.
it's tiresome, isn't it? It's just embarrassing.
I just don't think it reflects well on absolutely anyone involved with cricket
Anyone.
and anyone involved in either of these two countries as well, and even just general South Asians. Everyone else gets lumped into it, right? Guys, before we kind of move on, because there's one more topic I want to talk about with you two as well, around the county championship. But so anything else do you think that's left to be said about this game?
Bangladeshi fans. Honestly, everyone. This was everyone that was sat there made comments on this. They were absolutely brilliant.
How full was it though, Azeem?
It was just over 50%. So both sides, the bottom part was full, and then on the top side a little bit. But that was full. Like I've got a couple of videos where genuinely it was like an IPL game.
Oh,
it was proper. It was proper. Like it's like I said, it was just over 50% full, and it's a better atmosphere than anything I've watched here.
Are we expecting it to be full on Sunday?
Yeah, I assume so. I very much assume so, and I think again it'll be full of sea of blue. I would have thought, but yeah, third time lucky. You never know. Pakistani fans. It feels like Pakistani fans have had enough. They're a bit tired of the team. They're tired of the politics of it all. And yeah, there were hardly anyone there today.
Lovely. Tawhid, anything you'd like to say just to kind of conclude? When you look back and when you come to the end of the year to kind of gather your thoughts on Bangladesh's year of cricket, how would you think about this Asia Cup then?
I think it's kind of gone roughly how I thought it would go, to be fair. I thought they wouldn't really get anywhere close to being in the final, if I'm being totally honest. So to be within, what was it, 20 odd runs of getting to the final, I think that's they've probably just about exceeded my expectations. But yeah, a lot depends on sort of tomorrow's game, doesn't it? Because if Sri Lanka do beat India, and there's a chance of that happening, it's a dead rubber. India probably be, resting a lot of their players, Bumrah, Abhishek Sharma, etc. Be surprised if they play. But yeah, if Sri Lanka do win, then there's a chance that they overtake Bangladesh in the points table. So ending up 4th out of 4 doesn't sound quite so good then, does it? But yeah, overall it's kind of gone as I'd expected. And yeah, I think I was saying to you right at the start, Mark, off air, that it's a shame that Bangladesh didn't win, because it means that we do all have to watch another India-Pakistan game.
That's what happens on Sundays now. Like it's just India-Pakistan every Sunday forever.
Well, yeah, isn't that a thought?
Yeah. Guys, before we wrap this up, I just wanted to talk about how, which I know this has nothing to do with T20 cricket or the game that we are brought to talk about, how Nottinghamshire have won the county championship, and Azeem Hamid has become the first British Muslim man to captain a county championship winning team. When Tawhid told me that before we came on air, Azeem, I was like, my initial thought was that can't possibly be right. People like British Asian people and British Muslims have been here for a long, long time. Surely there must have been another British Muslim man captaining a team to win it. And I looked it up, and it seems like it's true. I can't think of anyone else. I just want to know, firstly, Azeem, as you are a prominent British Muslim man, how that makes you feel, and also, what does this mean anything?
Listen, I mean, firstly, I'm chuffed to bits for Azeem Hamid. I think over 1,100 runs, leading a county as big as Notts to a county championship, not easy. He's improved. He's moved from Lancashire and just grown year on year. So I'm chuffed to bits for him. I can't imagine when you told me, I'm not surprised. I can't imagine there would have been many captains, never mind a county championship winning one. I think there's been enough spoken in the last few years, the way the game has been and the game is. So I think I'm just chuffed for him, really. I don't whether this really is something that is going to get. Sometimes I feel like stuff like this gets shouted about to show, look how great things are, but under the surface of that, there's huge issues within English cricket. And to be honest, after everything I've experienced over the last 5 years and continue to, and the people that are in charge, I don't expect things to change in a big way either. So I just want to be happy for him. I'm chuffed for him. Congratulations to Notts and also Peter Moores. What an achievement to win the county championship with 3 different teams. First coach to do it. Probably one of the best coaches I've had the opportunity to, be around. I know he had a tough time with England, but and I'd love for him to get another go at international cricket somewhere as well, because he is very, very good.
And looking at the way some of these Asian teams play, I think there might be some vacancies soon if you wanted them.
Yeah, I mean, Pakistan couldn't do worse than getting someone like Peter Moores. I think he'd be very, very impressive.
I'd be really upset to see Mike Hesson leave his big chair forever.
Yeah, well, you can see him on Instagram because he loves his analysis with his board out, doesn't he, and do the IPL and stuff. So you'll still get a dose of him. I think Pakistan needs someone like a Peter Moores would be absolutely brilliant. But I think he would be. I think he would be anywhere.
Tawhid, any final words on the county championship?
Yeah, absolutely. I've kind of probably interviewed Azeem Hamid probably 3 or 4 times now. I spoke to him, interviewed him a couple of months ago, and I kind of known his brother. I was in Bangladesh in 2016 when he was with the England squad just before they played a couple of tests there just before they went to India, where he made his debut. So kind of followed his career arc quite closely, as Azeem was saying, it didn't quite work out for him at Lancs. He's moved to Notts. He was actually, I remember him saying a big reason for that was Peter Moores basically being at Notts and being attracted to the partnership that he's kind of forged with him. So yeah, thrilled to bits for him to kind of get be a captain of a championship winning team. Whether or not it kind of marks a watershed moment within kind of English cricket, yeah, again, I'm not so sure. But fantastic achievement for Azeem. And just on the England thing as well, I was talking to him about that a couple of months ago, and yeah, so obviously he made his comeback, didn't he, during that Ashes tour, and that went wrong for a whole host of reasons. It's the whole sort of Silverwood wheels coming off kind of era, and there were so many reasons that tour went badly. I think he was probably just one small reason for that. And actually what he was saying, if you look at his record during that Ashes tour, it wasn't actually that bad. I think he scored 1 or 2 half centuries. He only played, I think, off the top of my head, 3 tests or something on that tour. So he didn't actually do that badly, but obviously, change of management and he hasn't kind of had a look in since, but don't discount another comeback. But yeah, fantastic achievement.
We know there'll be a reset with England in mid-January, February. So you never know. You want to keep your powder dry and see how that goes, right? Guys, should we wrap that up there today? Muralian will definitely be back tomorrow because we're playing India, so we'll either be celebrating or crying into our tea, and then I'm going to try and get something organised with people for Sunday as well, and then also probably at some point next week to just do a big chat about how this whole thing's washed up, the whole Asia Cup, where we're at with all of these, because this tournament was created to be a warm up for the World Cup. They've started to play it further and further out. I mean, we're playing it 5 months out from an actual World Cup. So in Asian cricket, 5 months could be, 30, 40 captains, 10, 15 new boards. Like, that's a long, long time for Asian cricket. That's an eternity away. So, we're well on the road to the World Cup here. So if you're just finding us, do hit that subscribe button. We'll be back in the next few days. See you all later. Thanks a lot. Bye.